Welcome back, my automation enthusiasts. So, today is our third day of our Automation in a Day series. My name is Eamon Malik, and I'm a Power Platform Functional Consultant here at Prismware Technologies. I'm sure you're excited to know what we're going to learn today, so let's begin. Now that you've learned about the input and output variables and creating a desktop flow, now we will be using desktop flow connectors in Power Automate through connections. In our previous session, we discussed a bit about cloud flows, but today we will be diving a bit deeper into what is a cloud flow, what are its building blocks, etc. So, just an introduction, it is basically a cloud service that allows you to automate your business processes. So, what makes a cloud flow? It basically consists of a few building blocks. It consists of a trigger, an action, and typically a conditional logic step as well. Let's look at them a bit closer. Flows are designed with three different types of trigger options. There is a manual action trigger, and it is the one where a manual action from a user is required to begin the flow. For example, you can have a dedicated Power Automate button for it, or you can also have other apps such as Power Apps or SharePoint linked to the manual action. The second one is a schedule trigger, the one which begins on a predefined day and time, and if it is a recurrence with a specific cadence, for example, it runs, let's say, every Saturday at 3 p.m. And the third type of trigger that we have it is when an event occurs on another service that a flow is connected to. For example, let's say someone tweets a keyword or someone talks about your product in the tweet and you receive an email alert as an action. The second building blocks that we have in a cloud flow are actions. So an action can connect you to any cloud service or via the on-premises data gateway. They can also connect to any HTTP endpoints if there's no out-of-the-box connector. Also, some action may not even use these connections. They may just manipulate the data locally. The third building block of a cloud flow is the conditional logic, which execute decisions based on the scenario. For example, if you receive an email with an exclamation mark in the subject line, you will get a notification on your mobile device. If the email subject does not contain an exclamation mark, then you will not receive the mobile alert. So that is basically how you can set a conditional logic in your flows as well. Here is the basic Power Automate UI where you can see a trigger, an action, and a conditional logic. In this case, the trigger occurs when a new email arrives. When an email arrives, an automated action is taken, which in this case is the creation of the file. The conditional logic is an if-then function which offers a yes or no option for the flow process to execute depending on the criteria. You can use the desktop flows connector to enable the robotic process automation or RPA. And you can also use the desktop flows connection to allow the desktop flow to call your registered machines directly. And you also have the option to integrate your desktop flow into a complete end-to-end cloud flow. Without any further delay, let's begin our today's lab. So today we're going to create a cloud flow and we're going to install and configure the on-premises data gateway to enable this cloud flow to execute the Windows-based desktop flow on your device. And then we will add the enter the invoice with input flow that we created to this cloud flow that we will create today, and then we will perform a test run of this new cloud flow that we have created. So let's begin. Now let's start. You will go and open your solution that you've created, which is our invoice processing solution, and you'll click on new and you'll go on automation, cloud flow, and then click on instant. Now let's name our flow man manual trigger desktop flow to enter invoice, and you'll select manually trigger a flow and you'll click on create. Now the first step for triggering the cloud flow is added, and now you will add a new step and search for desktop flow. Now you will see the following options. You will select Run a flow built with Power Automate for desktop. So once you select this Run a flow built with Power Automate for desktop, you will so before this window appears, you will have an option to select your machine, and then you will enter your domain and username and your password for that machine as well. And once you enter that, you will be displayed this screen in which we will select our desktop flow, which was entered an invoice that we created in the previous session. And in the run mode, you will select attended runs when you're signed in. This is for your machine that is connected to your Power Automate. And now let's say we enter the amount for the Contoso invoicing application, which let's say is 200 in this case, and we enter the contact to be b.friday at wingdipcups.com, and in the account name you can write wingdip cups, and then we save this cloud flow. Once you've created the flow and saved it, you will see the option of test on the extreme right corner. Click that and you'll click on manually because we are manually triggering the flow, and then we'll click on test. Now we will click on run flow, and now this will appear that our flow has successfully started to run, and we click on done. And now that our flow is running, we'll test it out in the Contoso application and see if it runs. So now the desktop flow is triggered, the Contoso invoicing application open, it goes to invoices, it goes to date, and now it will pick up the data from the cloud flow. So now in the cloud flow, we entered the account name as Wingtip Cups, the contact name as b.friday, and the amount was 200, and the status changed to invoice from the desktop flow trigger. So this is how your cloud flow and the desktop flow can work with a manual trigger in the cloud flow. Thank you for attending the session today. I'm sure you've learned how to use a desktop flow connector in Power Automate through connection. In the next session, I'll be teaching you how to create a new cloud flow that automatically triggers whenever an email arrives in your inbox. We will be using an Outlook connector in the cloud flow. Stay tuned for the next session.